making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonian, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our needs, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our needs, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation.
My name is Milton Taka. I am an Ambazonian. Like many of you, I am a revolutionary vanguard. I come to you as a humble servant of our revolution with a message of peace and hope at this very trying moment in our revolution. When I joined this revolution, I made an unbreakable covenant with Milton first, and secondly, with our people, the people of Ambazonia. First, I made a commitment to myself that I will always be true to the Ambazonian people no matter the cost. I will serve my people with all my heart and with all my might until we get to Boya and beyond. That I will always be a true revolutionarist. I will always put Ambazonia first at all time, our people first, second, and myself would always come a distant third. I made a commitment to myself that I would never lie to our people. I have stood true to purpose. I speak my mind and I say it as it is. And I've always challenged anyone to prove the things I say are not rooted in truth. I make a solemn promise that if I, Milton Taka, ever be found wanting of having lied to our people, I will resign from any public office I hold within 24 hours. I made this pledge to Ambalanders in South Africa in 2016, and I want to make this pledge again to every single Ambazonian listening to me now. Those on ground zero cannot listen to me, and I say this respectfully. My dear people, our pain is deep and our goals created. One goal is created by some amongst our midst who continue to do the wrong things that continue to put our struggle into disrepute. I appeal to all of us to stay calm. Please stay calm, especially at this hour. There are some questions about our struggle that we as a people must ask and answer. And the first question is, what is causing the biggest pain to the Ambazonian revolution? Is it our people? The answer is definitely no, because our people has given in their all. Our people's emotional capital is completely rooted in our struggle. Is it our restoration forces? No. Like I said last time, only God knows how he created these very special Ambazonians who have given up everything, including their life, to defend your freedom and my freedom. And to all our restoration forces, we give you our respects, and I call on all Ambazonians, especially those in the diaspora, to give all our restoration forces due respect, to understand that this struggle is where it is, not because of you and I in the diaspora, but because of our restoration forces. They deserve better. They deserve better. Some of the slangs that you release on our restoration forces make me wonder. Do you know what it means to sleep in the forest, to sleep under trees, to live on raw stuff just to defend your people? It's the thing causing the biggest pain in this struggle, our leaders. For me, it is a big yes. The problem in the Ambazonian struggle is that of leadership. You might ask, how are our leaders causing the problem? How are our leaders causing the problem? We all know through lying, like big lies with open eyes, ignoring the fight against La Republic and preferring to turn against our own people, They blackmail their own, they slander their own, they do character assassination, they use surrogate, they divide our people, fellow Ambazonians. Our leaders are the problem behind the insanity we see in this revolution. Leaders have taken our people for right. Our leaders refuse to account. Our leaders refuse to have integrity prevail. Our leaders repeat what we experienced under La Republic. Leaders undermine ordinary Ambazonians when they refuse to account. Leaders undermine ordinary Ambazonians when they choose to divide us. It cannot be that what you get back for sacrificing so much to see motherland free is insults, blackmail from those who call themselves your own leaders. This has got to stop. This has got to stop. Let us put our eyes on the prize. Our people are dying on a daily basis. Our villages are being burned down on a daily basis. Our boys are crying in the forest on a daily basis. We have not equipped them. How can we replace the equipping of our boys with lies, slander, blackmail, and destroying our own? I speak as an oracle of this struggle. This has got to stop. For me, what are the two things that unfortunately have put this struggle where it is today? Number one would be leaders undermining our people by refusing to account. When a leader wants respect, you must account to the people. That is unquestionable. It is going to be the same today. It is going to be the same tomorrow, especially when we go to Ambazonia. Number two, leaders have preferred to be dividers, not unifiers. Leaders have preferred to be bridge breakers, not bridge builders. Again, I speak on behalf of the ordinary Ambazonian on ground zero. Our people are crying for unity. Our people are begging you, listening to us now, for unity. Put your differences aside. Let truth rule this revolution. Let love rule this revolution. We are tired. The ordinary Ambazonian on the ground is tired. This is a revolution we cannot lose. This is a fight we have already won. The victory is in our hands. The choice is ours. Our actions will determine how quickly we get to Boya. If we choose to continue to support lies, if we choose to continue to support those that are killing this revolution, we will prolong our stay to Boya. Fellow Ambazonians, this is a God-ordained revolution. No man or woman born of a woman's belly can stop this revolution. But this unity can delay our march to Boya. I ask us to stand down. I want to thank surrogates. I want to thank hand clappers. I want to thank some of those counter-revolutionary forces who listened to my voice last week, and we have done analysis right through this week. They have stopped the senseless attacks against our own people and leaders. Your president sends me to send a message. Nobody must attack anybody in the name of Sisiku Ayuk Tabe. We are bigger and better. Let us focus on the prize, Boya. One big question that people have been asking is, who is in charge of this struggle as we speak? Fellow compatriots, there's no doubt about that this revolution has one leader, His Excellency Sisiku Ayuk Tabe. He is the leader of the IG and our revolution. But due to his incarceration, his assistant comrade Daphne Yerima, vice president of our interim government, is in charge until we as a people decide he has served us and we want to try another leader. And I ask Ambazonians to stand behind Comrade Daphne Yerima and his entire government. Stand beside Sisiku until we the people respond otherwise. I will respond to the allegations we all heard, the unfortunate allegations we all heard from Barrister Fru Nsoh very soon. But fellow Ambazonians, there can only be one IG. There can only be one IG. This is my message to our people. Are we on track with regards to the project to free our land, our people, and our country? The answer is yes, we are on track. We are definitely on track. I want to repeat it again that we will get to Buea faster if we unite. I cannot understand why we cannot collaborate. We don't need to be the same to work together. We need to work together because we have one project. And our project is the project of freeing our people. Our skirmishes and differences, we can overcome them if we put Ambazonia first. Fellow comrades, I ask the ordinary Ambazonian people in all the movements that represent our struggle to get your leaders to unite. Let us stop the pain that we're causing on ground zero. Now, there's something that happened over the last few weeks, precisely on the 21st, that we missed. The colonial governor or ruler of the northern zone accused us Ambazonians of burning villages in Gum. In a release he put out, I've got a message for that colonial slave. There can be no motivation whatsoever from any Ambazonian to burn our own villages, to force our own parents to go live in forests, to shoot our own people. You have not only burned more than 260 of our villages, you have murdered more than 5,000 of our people. You continue to lock so many of them in your jails. So many are in Nigeria as refugees. But we promise you, you will pay a price. We will come for each and every one of you collaborators of these criminal acts of colonial French Cameroon. Let us remind you that Ambazonia has always been a country. And that is one thing we Ambazonians will never give up, no matter what. The time is now for our freedom, and that freedom is unstoppable. Get that into your heads. Get that into your heads. My fellow Ambazonians, I come to you tonight with a lot of pain in my heart after following what our very respectable Barrister Fru Nsoh said in the US on the TV show. Barrister Fru Nsoh is one of the few Ambalanders who has stood behind our struggle from inception. He stood tall, strong. He's one of the few Ambazonians who has earned my respect, and I want to believe the respect of almost all of us. He's one of those Ambazonians who's bold to purpose, and many times we ask, are you not scared in the lion's den with the things you say? Yes, he's one who's told La Republic in their faces that Ambazonia is a different country and we must go. Now, we have had lots of questions. What is happening behind the scenes, my fellow Ambazonians? That is a question that I cannot answer with regards to the rhetoric of our very respectable barrister. Is it appropriate for this, our very respectable barrister, a legendary in law and a leader in our struggle, to float compromising allegations on the leader of our struggle without presenting us the exact facts to avoid unnecessary misinterpretation or fabrication beyond what he means? To my very respectable Barrister Fru Nsoh, if your allegations were true, we as Ambazonians would have loved you to be talking to us with evidence. When you utter words like, I am telling you that the leader of this struggle is compromised. without telling us how the leader is compromised, without showing us substance. And when we talk of substance, we are referring to irrefutable evidence, unchallengeable evidence. Because the one thing that we've seen in this revolution is we've seen a lot of good people, but we've seen a lot of manufacturing of tales to destroy people. I find it very hard, very, very hard to comprehend that a man I respect so much, our clients, our leaders, his leaders have put their whole lives in his hand. Those he's defending alongside other lawyers. My dear barrister, that you will go live on a TV show and say the things that professionally you should not say it where you said it, in the way you said it, because you did not answer the key questions of, are they truly compromised? When were they compromised? To what extent are they compromised? You didn't show us the evidence. I respect you a lot, and I speak on behalf of your people who sent me to come and talk to you today. Barrister, please bring us evidence that Sisiku is compromised. Bring us evidence that the others you mentioned are compromised. If your evidence is solid and true, I will be the first one to reject the leader of this struggle, His Excellency Sisiku Ayuk Tabe. Because when I signed up for this struggle, I signed up to stand for the truth. You must know that when we accuse the ex-acting president of this revolution for serious crimes against the revolution, we are saying, one, he is refusing to account till today. Two, he has chosen to disunite our people. I have never attacked Comrade Chris Arno, because when I look at the parents of Comrade Chris Arno, I celebrate them. They have given us two great sons. The great Field Marshal, who lives in the forest fighting for our freedom, and Comrade Chris Arno. I have always wished Comrade Chris Arno used the blessings God gave him to nail a republic and not continue to take away people from this struggle. It cannot be that we will choose to fight our own. There is a clarification I equally want to make, which is very important. When we were also scared our leaders had been killed, I'm talking of the habeas corpus here. When we were also scared that nobody knew what was happening, and all we suspected was that our leaders were either killed or held incommunicado. I was within the interim government. I was within cabinet at that time. We did everything we could to get information on where our leaders were. When it became clear that some 3 La Republique self-imposed lawyers were seeing our leaders, we, and when I talk we, I'm talking of some independent Ambazonians, created an organization called Sisiku Ayuk and Co. Solidarity Group, SACS, Sisiku Ayuk and Co. Solidarity Group. What was our ultimate objective? Our ultimate objective was to make sure that our leaders were taken out of incommunicado detention, that our people are able to see our leaders and truly believe that they've not been killed. We put together money. I was one of them. I was in SACS. I am a SACS member. We put together money and we gave it to our respected Barrister Fru Nsoh, to force the habeas corpus to happen. It is because of that that you and I finally saw our leaders with our naked eyes in court. It is because of that patriotic responsibility that some of us did that we were able to see pictures and videos sneaked out of court. The lawyers who took those pictures and videos took it with ultimate risk, because they were not only banned, but people were prevented from coming to court. So we would like Barrister Fru Nsoh to give clarification on the habeas corpus. It's extremely important. We have no doubt from where we are that the cabinet of the interim government came in afterwards. But who were those that drove the habeas corpus? Is it not true that the cabinet did not believe in it? Is it not true that it's after the SARS investment and clear signs that that was the right way to go that our own cabinet came on board? When we did that, we didn't do it to take glory, and we will never take glory for whatever we do because no one knows who's going to get to boil. But we would like credit to be given to where it is due. It is a humble view, our very learned and respectable barrister, that you could not have said the things the way you said to the people whose lives are in your hands. We ask you to come out and either clarify issues or show us evidence. I want to repeat that again. If you do have irrefutable evidence that my leader, whom I support 100% till this moment, whom I stand behind unquestionable, is compromising, I'll be the first person to come and make a public statement and denounce him. But until I see irrefutable evidence, I call on Ambazonians to be focused. I call on our people to be focused. There are a lot of games going on behind the scene and we are tired. Let us focus on the enemy. I have been clear on unity, and you can only unite with those that want unity. You cannot force unity. Fellow Ambazonians, I want you to think of this. If it is true that the leader of this revolution, His Excellency Sisiku Ayuk Tabe, is compromised, would he have gone into the colonial court and told them, and I quote, "I am an Ambazonian. I am not a citizen of La République du Cameroon, not even scared of death"? Would he have done that? That's number one. Let's go to number two. Number two, fellow Ambazonians, in their own jails, our leader and all our other Naira 10 leaders wrote a freedom protocol. In South Africa, it was called the Freedom Charter by the Mandelas. And at the end of it, they wrote on a quote, "Independence or resistance forever." Could a compromising leader continue to stick on that? Thirdly, the letter that was leaked that our leader wrote to the UN, that has been picked by all media houses or key media houses. Remember, he wrote in it, "We are Ambazonians. Get La République to send us back home." That was in May. It wasn't in April. It wasn't in March. So again, I leave it to you Ambazonians to be the judges. But I believe that every time a house is on fire, we must fix it in-house. And lastly, let me just talk about the legality side. We remain eternally grateful to Barrister Fru Nsoh for his great sacrifices, and all the lawyers who have stood behind every single Ambazonian in jail, not just the Naira 10. But we equally know that before the MRC elections, Barrister Ndoki was working with Barrister Fru Nsoh to defend our leaders. Who's Barrister Ndoki? He's a lawyer under Maurice Kamto. She's currently in jail, locked up by the colonial government. So where is this thing about Francophone leaders now defending our people, when indeed we've had some real, honest Francophone leaders who have been part of the defense team till now? We have a defense team of more than 100 lawyers, and some of them are Francophones. Again, I'm calling on the learned barrister to please come and clarify. The one thing I don't want to do is to challenge Barrister Fru Nsoh. I have a lot of respect for him. I uphold him at very high esteem. I talk to him personally. And I want us to have it on record that I will always want Barrister Fru Nsoh to be with us, to be with the Naira 10, to be with Sisiku, than the reverse. But any innuendos we have in public have to be clarified. I must say, that last night was one of the longest nights for me in this struggle, following the things I heard from Barrister Fru Nsoh. And I, as Milton, I need clarification. My fellow Balanders, for those serving us as our leaders, the revolutionary clock is their master. Tonight at 8 p.m., you are expecting Vice President Comrade Daphne to address us. My fellow people, due to an emergency revolutionary call, an unplanned travel had to take place. Unfortunately, he will not be able to address us tonight. We have moved his address to next week. The exact day and time will be communicated to you. I want to give an unconditional apology on behalf of the Vice President and the Cabinet for this postponement, particularly given the fact that this speech that was meant to be given tonight was going to be his policy speech that gives us a clear roadmap of what his administration intends to do in the short term, in the medium term, and in the long term. And I want to assure Ambazonians that that roadmap has been finalized. But like I said, we as leaders in this revolution, we follow the wind of the struggle. We are pushed by the struggle. In the last 2 days, I have spoken to more than half of our NERA 10 leaders. My fellow compatriots, this is a hard time for all of us. This is their message. They have given this for me to give it to you. And I want to give you word for word. In their words, they said, we in detention remain strong, bold, resolute, and determined to the end. Independence or resistance to the end. Do not be distracted. Those are people whose freedoms have been seized. Their appeal is, do not be distracted. So, in line with being focused, Comrade Yerima will most certainly be addressing us. So we are going to have a telecast. There is going to be a public telecast next week after his policy speech. The telecast will be a public open telecast on Zoom. All Ambazonians that support any leader or support any movement are please encouraged to be there. We have been collecting your questions, and we believe it is our responsibility as leaders to answer every single one of them. This is a time for us to give clarity to some of the things that are destroying our revolution, and most importantly, get all of us to focus. This will be televised live, very important, for purposes of transparency. So those of you that are not able to be on Zoom will be able to ask live televised questions, and we answer you. It is important that as a people, we begin to see the fruits of a transparent and credible government. Now to the international community. Our people and our government wants to be categorically clear that all Ambazonians, and we mean all, currently serving detention under colonial Cameroon must be freed before we can ever sit down for negotiations on our terms of going our separate ways and ending the marriage that never existed. The message is simple and reflects the position and the actions of our leaders as clearly articulated in the Freedom Charter. There will never be negotiations so long as your colonial, brutal, terrorist forces continue to occupy our land. There will never be negotiations so long as you still hold one Ambazonian, and we must be clear, you will not only release all our people, you will make sure that you account for every single one of them. Let us make it clear that prisoners cannot negotiate. Prisoners cannot negotiate. And you know those you must start negotiating with, they are under your captivity. Until they are released, come out, and we form our own negotiation team, it is not going to happen. Fellow Ambazonians, as I close, our struggle could be better. Let us unite. Let us forgive. Let us focus. So many wrongs have happened, but there must be no reason why an Ambazonian cannot talk to another Ambazonian. It will be a great day in Ambazonia if we have all our leaders sitting on the table and giving us the same message. Our leaders sat in the capacity workshop in Belgium. All of them. What stops them from sitting on a round table not caught by outside forces? In 1961, we were deceived. Let me sound this warning on behalf of our people. Whatever is happening in Belgium, we know there are many interpretations in public, but our leaders say negotiations have not started. I want to speak on behalf of the Ambazonian people. There can be no negotiations without leaders coming to us, telling us what they're negotiating about, getting a go-ahead from us before they sit down and talk about our country. We must always put Ambazonia first. We must always put the suffering masses of our people on ground zero first. We must always put our restoration forces that have put everything at risk for our freedom first. My fellow Ambazonians, Boya is real, and together we will make Boya. Short live the struggle, long live Ambazonia, independence or resistance, ever. God bless you.
Ambazonians pledge our loyalty, praising to our Savior who granted us the freedom, a legend to the hero who bowed the lonely diablo. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in our nation, flowing with earth and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father, for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation.
The long civil war